Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of the From Her View podcast with myself, Sade Camille. And as always, you know the deal. I'm always excited when I get a chance to come onto the podcast and share in the renewings of our minds with Christ. And as you can tell, I'm just in good spirits. The joy of the Lord is always our strength. And I kind of wanted to do the recap because at the top of the year, I started a 12-week year of Atomic Habits. And I previously have done the 12-week year before. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, it sounds like a completely foreign language. It is books, right? It is a system created by these two great books that I read, and I thought it would be really great to combine them both. And so you have the 12-week year by Brian Moran and Michael P. Lennington, and then you have the Atomic Habits by James Clear. And so I really like the premises of both books, and after reading them, I decided that hey, it would be really great to combine these both together and tackle a 12-week year utilizing Atomic Habits in conjunction with the systems of a 12-week year. And it's a wonderful idea, beautiful idea, right? And today is the recap of my results from my first 12-week year. So I've done the 12-week year in the past, which is basically saying that who cares about a Gregorian calendar of the traditional 12 months? We're going to take 12 weeks, and that is going to be our year. And it's supposed to help you get the maximum rollout of efficiency on the things that you can do by cranking up the temperature by having less time to do them. Because the more time that you have to do something, the most time you're going to take to do that thing. And a living witness, because I knew about something 2 weeks ago and I could have started it at least and had it finished, and I have not. So that's something I'm going to definitely start doing after the podcast because, this is my baby. I got to get her out of the way. But that's what we're going to talk about. So if you don't know what the 12 weeks here is, um, it is a system, like I said, putting the 12-week, uh, the 12-year, the 12 months of a year calendar on its head and doing something different with it. Where Atomic Habits is not just making goals to make goals, because in the 12-week year you are making goals, but they're not creating the systems behind the goals. And so that's what makes Atomic Habits the perfect pairing to this, because James Clear is saying that's great that you want to stop biting your nails. You can't just say to yourself, okay, I'm going to just stop biting my nails. You're going to have to do some system in place to not do that. And so for him, he was getting his nails manicured. He liked the way that they looked. The woman that was manicuring his nails let him know that he had really nice nails. And so he was completely into it. He enjoyed it immensely. And it helped him really take care of his nails better. And he's no longer a biter. And that would be a system to attack a goal. And so I have my 5 pillars, which is faith, family, fitness, future, and finance. And so I want to take great atomic habits in those categories in conjunction with a 12-week year. So let me just give you a little bit of what I was trying to do. You know what I'm saying? Because it was a lot of stuff. It was a lot. It was a lot of things. But um, you know, it was a lot. It was a lot of things. So as we finish, as we round out, and prepare for our next 12 weeks, I have learned what I needed to do steps that I need to take. And then I'm actually going to try those things this week and let you know how that works for me because, I just need to do something different. I need to have more efficiency out of my day. Um, because, I was resting. I was doing a lot of rest, child. I was resting. I was off for 5 days, living my best life, resting, doing some things that the Father really pressed upon my heart to do. And then also just doing a whole lot of resting. Like my body was like, I don't have anywhere to be right now, to be where to right now. Sleep. And I would just be sleeping. But I can't say that I didn't really do a whole lot of things because I did. I'm one of those people that kind of gloss over a lot of the achievements that they do because I've done so many things. It's kind of ridiculous. So, and I'm only like 36. I'll be 37 this year. And when I think, look, when the old folks said, when I look upon my life, and all he's done for me. Okay, child, because I'm like, dang, I done lived some lives. But my life is still not over and I still got a lot of life to live and I still have a lot of things to do. So here it is. So we already went to the categories of our 12 weeks of atomic habits. And so faith, family, fitness, and finance. So I want to do three specific things within the confines of each just because I have five different areas of focus. I didn't want to overwhelm myself with too many goals within them because analysis paralysis and I would not be able to achieve them. So, for my faith, I wanted to do sermons, I wanted to do Bible study, and I wanted to do church. So when I say sermons, I mean like watching, consuming more like sermons versus junk food. So I call, like TV, movies, things of that nature, junk food. And then I call things like sermons, good books, but specific type of books, like books that are going to help me learn and grow. But then I call like novels or nonfiction books, I call them junk food because it's something that it does have a place, right? We do need our sweets in our life, but it's not helping me get into that direction directly, right? I do think that the Holy Spirit can give you information from any source. Child, for a time out, every other movie I was watching, I was like, oh my God, okay, Holy Spirit. Just recently, a movie that I watched, I was getting a little something something from it, and I was like, okay, Lord, um, you know, this is, it's for me. It's for me. It's for me to document, but it's not for me to share at this current moment in time. But it was definitely like, okay, I heard that, Lord. So then for my family, incorporating family meetings and then incorporating a day specifically for my daughter and then a day specifically for my son where we are doing intentional things. Then for fitness, I wanted to do a healthy diet, but then I wrote meal prep and then I wanted to join a class and then I wanted to prioritize my sleep. For the past year or so, I've really been having an issue with sleep. Um, And it was one week where I kind of like submitted it over to God and really was just when he would wake me up, I would be up, sleep, right? I would be up. But instead of that, I would look at the time and be like, well, look at my watch. My watch would be like, girl, you got 5 hours. That is not enough. And so I would go back to sleep. Um, and force myself back to sleep, which that would take a while for me to force myself back to sleep, and I would wake up even more exhausted than I did the first time that I woke up. So I'm really leaning into that with God. I did eliminate a lot of caffeine intake from my system. That definitely aided and helped a whole lot because I was burning the candle at both ends, just doing so much. So I was working full time. I was going to CDL school part time, and then I also had a part time job. Also, the mother of two children. Also, was trying to have a romantic life at the same time. And I was doing pretty good at juggling those things, but it was at the expense of my body. And I would say it all the time, but now I kind of rebuke that in the name of Jesus because, like, what? But I would tell myself that all the things that I could do before, I can't do them now because I have brain surgery, and so I have to be a little bit more cautious when it comes to my health. And I do, but I still was I'm still just as strong, just as capable, just as able as I was previously. I definitely am. And my level of endurance has improved, but also certain things had to change, right? And so consistent sleep was definitely a part of it because I could make the goal of which I try to shoot for the gym 5 days a week. I can make that goal of trying to shoot for the gym 5 days a week, but I can't do it at the expense of sleep because if I'm not getting the proper rest and restoration to my body, it's kind of counterproductive to what I'm trying to do. So that's why a healthy diet slash meal prepping is something that I need to lean into because it's like I would get so busy and that would attribute to me gaining weight because I would have to pick up food from here, pick up food from there, utilizing my time to do so many things. I didn't plan for prepping my food for the week. Not only my food, but I literally prep the food for the whole house because I'm like, it's kind of one of those things where I don't know about y'all, but as a mom, it's very hard to kind of like gatekeep anything for yourself when you have kids, and it doesn't matter how old they are. It just is literally impossible. And it's so funny because I remember as a kid, like my mom used to love the drumsticks ice cream, and guess what? Her kids love them drumstick ice creams too. So you got five kids, and you buy drumstick ice creams, and you're just like, just leave me one, and we would be like, so it would be one of those things. So it's like it is my portion, for the things that I used to do as a kid. So I definitely can't, keep anything like that. For my finance, I really wanted to tackle a cashless budget. If you follow a lot of financial gurus that I have or that I do consume their information, a lot of them did the envelope method as far as like breaking down their money in a way to separate their money to keep them from overspending and then to help them in saving. So I really wanted to focus on that. And then I wanted to teach the kids about financing. And then I wanted to set saving focus for short term goals. So I really want to have a short term goal of saving. And then for the future, I wanted to get caught up with school, create consistent content slash the podcast, and then long term investing. So those were the things that I really wanted to focus on. And it was a lot. It was a lot. It was a lot. So I went through and I kind of like broke it down. Okay, well, how can I ensure that I'm getting these things done? So for my faith habits, things like calendar reminders, uh, I wanted to listen to at least 3 sermons a day, Bible study. So I wanted to be self guided, or I wanted to go to my favorite teacher online and consume their Bible study. And then I wanted to attend church at least twice a month, but it's not twice a month, but you get it. It's a 12-week year. But twice in a month. Um, and I wanted to I found a church, but my church is it's not in my state. So I've been able to do that and everything like that. For my family habits, I wanted to create a framework for our family meeting. For us to have one once a month, and then establish a day where I can give my children uninterrupted time, like I said before. So this is just like a breakdown of something. But for the finance habits, um, I just have a lot of goals, right? So for my main goal, I said, was the cashless budget, and that is true. I also wanted to track my spending and utilize my mini accounts. I have a lot of bank accounts. So I have a lot of bank accounts. My daughter's like, why do I need so many accounts? Because you do. It's very important. It's a method to the madness for cashless budgeting. And then for my save it focus, it was to pay down credit cards and then to pay off collections and then show my children how to build their own credit. And then for my future habits, when it came to stocks, I just wanted to consistently invest in two tech stocks, two index stocks, and then two cryptos. And then for school, do batch assignment execution, um, and then use bathroom breaks or, you know, yeah, bathroom breaks as a cause for, okay, I have my phone, well, let me jump into class and participate in a discussion. And then um for the podcast, I wanted to create the outlines, focus, treat this more like a business as I should, and not just casually like I am. So with the 12-week year, you're supposed to kind of have an accountability group where, you tell people, like, okay, like a check in, like, oh, I did this and this, and I did this and this, like to hold us accountable and be like, well, you said you were going to do this and this. Did you do that? Just another people to kind of hold you accountable. And I feel like I do and I don't. Like I am a person where, look, I'm gonna keep it frank. There's a lot of monitoring spirits, child, a lot of monitoring spirits, and so there's not like I wasn't even released to talk about the things that I was doing for my 12-week year until now, because I can't even the monitor. Oh my god, monitoring spirits. It's like one of the things with surgery through the nose. Just like certain things, like I just can't say anymore. Things I can't say. I don't know. It's crazy. Um, so I wasn't permitted to really talk too much about it, and plus, I kind of just wanted to not talk about it. I just wanted to do it, and I mean, a lot of it was pretty good. It was a lot of it I kind of inadvertently was doing and kind of didn't even think about it, which was super helpful. But you know, it's my check-in, it's my results for the 12-week year. And even though I wanted to do 100% of all the things that I said I was going to do, I came up doing about half of those things. And so, if we're looking at the grading scale, good sis got an F. And it stands for fabulous, fantastic, freaking amazing. Um, Even though I didn't do a lot of the goals that I had set out for myself, I still was able to do things that were pressed upon my heart, things to do that I don't want to say that I kind of forgot about, because I didn't forget about them. It was just mainly they were not in my forefront, right? Sometimes you get distracted by day to day things, that there are promises that you were given that are not at the forefront of your mind. And then one day you're just like, well, that happened very fast. And it's kind of what it was. So the results are in, child, and let me tell you, okay? Now, for faith. I was unsuccessful in my faith goals, right? That I set. I did not attend a physical church, but I did join 2819. I strayed away from consistent teachings and Bible study. Now, I did read my word, fast, and hear from the Lord. So that was not a part of my goals, but that was me listening to the Lord and doing what He told me to do. Now, all of those other things are essential. They're helpful. They help me, right? Bible study just helps me understand the Bible in a better way, to not only understand that a lot of the things that we were preached about were complete garbage, because they're taking a small bit, like they're taking a verse, they're pulling it out and they're making it fit to whatever they want to talk about, which in all actuality that is not accurate. You have to read with full context of what's being said, how it's being delivered, who it's being delivered to, why it's being delivered to them. And so it's a lot of nuances, but if you don't actively digest the word, you wouldn't understand that. If you're not trying to grow in your relationship with him, you wouldn't understand that, because then he starts giving you correction and you kind of like don't have a feel for what you used to. So almost like a baby food, right? So um I happened upon 2819 sometime last year, and I at first I was like, oh my God, this man is going in. Like, what's going on? He kind of reminded me of my pastor, because I had the same exact feeling when I first started go like when I first heard of him, and then I just typed in Google like, okay, like I need a church near my house, and that was the first church that popped up. And so I was like, I don't know. And then I had an encounter with one of my students at the time, and she was like, oh, I go there, like you should come with me on next Sunday. And I was like, oh, okay. So I did, and I had a great experience, and I was able to learn so much about right relationship with God, and acts and practices that we should uphold as believers in Him, and not to be religious, but to be in relationship with Him. So when I happened upon 2819, and I happened upon them at a perfect time, because I was in a place in my life where, which I'm still in this place where I was just like, you know what? I'm just doing everything God's way. I'm like sick of it. I'm over it. The Sade way has never worked. It always be giving me some funky result, and I'm absolutely over it. And I kept saying to myself that um seek the Lord, and everything else should be added unto you, child. Seek him, everything else will be added unto you, and I'll leave it at that. So with that, I just began to understand the Lord, act of repentance, even understanding things about the supernatural, and the way that the enemy likes to have entry into our lives, and so many things that I have not even been released to bring it to the podcast, but just things behind the scenes that really helped me. I don't want to, like almost have a bamboo season where like I was just kind of like in the ground, and all of a sudden I kind of like shot up and came into such great understanding. So even though I didn't do the goals that I set for myself, I was able to draw nearer, draw closer to God. and discern his voice better, be more in tune with the Holy Spirit like never before, um, and just come into right relationship with him. So, did I follow all the things that I set as goals? Not for real. But I did some other things in the process that I feel like were more impactful than the things that I had set up for myself. So, for family, I was successful. I was able to create the meeting framework. However, I was not able to get a meeting um, once a month. I wasn't able to establish that, but I have been able to spend consistent time with them and my extended family. So during the process of the 12 weeks, one of the things that I was like always for family, I was like, okay, spend time with my kids, spend time with my kids. And I was literally negating and disrespecting how vast my extended family is. Um, Meaning, I mean, they're my extended family now because we no longer live under the same household, but my direct siblings, or yeah, direct family, being my siblings, like spending more time with them, spending more time with my nieces and my nephew, and being more conscious in that and showing up in that way, because I was like, you know what? I've been a mom so long that my main focus, my main concern is like mom, that I have been an aunt for such a short time that I still haven't really grasped that skill, that ability. Now, I have been an aunt for longer than that time, because I have older siblings that have children, but I've never been around them. So, like the kids that I've been around, I'm just like, dang, I need to be around them more. I need to spend more time with them. I need to, spend more time with my sisters, and, it not be, oh, can you help me with this? Oh, can you help me with that? Hey, can you help me with that? What's a holiday? I don't want it to be under those pretenses. I want to foster like genuine conversations, genuine connections with them, and I was actually able to do that. So I was very, very elated in that, because that was a bonus. That was something additional. I went into the situation looking for a specific result, which was, getting this family meeting together and just spending more time with my kids. But in turn, I was able to spend more time with my extended family, and not only be like supportive in a sense of if they need me to do something that I can support them in that area, but just to, have a real conversation and just talking from our perspectives and everything like that, because it's one of those things where yes, you grow up in the same household with people, but you guys all have very vastly different experiences. We are our own person. We are our own individual. We only spend 100% of the time with ourselves. And so there is a lot of interaction, a lot of life lived that might not be privy to our siblings. So it was just so nice to have conversations with them, and for them to vent about this, that, and the third, and for, us to just have a commonality, and for it to be lighthearted and fun. So that was like a true highlight, and it was actually a goal of mine to be able to like genuinely being able to have like fellowship with my sisters, just the sisters, because a lot of the times when we do get together, it's us, it's all of our kids, which is like six kids, and then I'm divorced, so it's six kids, the three of us, two of their husbands, and the two of their husbands, and it's just, you know it's hard. So it's very nice when we can just be together and women. I think it would be even more better for us to have our younger brother included in that. So prayerfully, that will happen soon. For finance, I was 50% successful in finance, which, completely blew my mind. But like, what can you say? What can you say? I was like, I'm not doing the greatest, but in some areas I did better than others, and then some areas I completely like with the faith, I literally did like none of the things that I set out to do, but I ended up doing something else that was even more impactful for me. So, I did not track my spending. Okay, so that's where I want to run. So I'm really leaning into that moving forward. I did find a great use of accounts to help me hide money. And so that is like the cheat code. If you guys are looking for the cheat code and how do I better manage my finances, you know, once I have fully mastered it, I'll probably do an episode on it, but this is just like a hot tip. I'll give it to you right now. You need to find a savings account that is an online savings account, okay? That it does not have a brick and mortar location. You need something that is not easily accessible, meaning that with every whim of, oh, I see these shoes, I know I have it in my savings account. Let me just transfer the money. You don't want to be put in situations like that. So I have main bank accounts and then subcategory bank accounts. And it just helps me manage my money better. It just does. I have a separate account for this was actually something that a great takeaway from The Richest Man in Babylon. It's, you know, pay yourself first. So I have it set up that automatically direct deposit straight from my employer. X amount of dollars, 10% automatically goes into my savings bank account. And then I have a completely another bank account where 10% automatically goes there to give back to the Lord for blessing me with the 90. And then I have my main bank account where I do the most of my money movement. So those other bank accounts, and I'm just talking about two others. I have more than two other bank accounts. So please, I'll break it down one day. But I have my main account that I'm constantly looking at all the time. Yes, it does having a savings account into it, but I will see it and I will be like, oh, just transfer because it's just a click, just transfer. So yes, you know, you do that, you get in the habit of doing that, you kind of like desecrated it and you need to hide money from it because these other accounts, like, yeah, I have the apps for them, yeah, I have the access for them, but I'm not checking for them every single day, just like I'm checking for my main account because my main account is where all the inflow is coming into, and then I am using that account to disperse it everywhere that I need that money to go. And so it's just one of those ways that it's easier for me. So I was able to do that. I was very, very happy with that. And then um, a part of it was like teaching my kids. So I was able to show my daughter how to do the similar thing. Um, but she's not fully set up on the full strategy. But she does have her beginnings and she's working and she's using them and she's being real successful and mindful and conscious of everything. So just showing her that part, and then I just have to continue to show her um, the rest of it. And I don't have that book in front of me, unfortunately. I did create, and you can just go online if you want to. I just ordered some bullet journals off of Amazon. I love a good bullet journal. I don't know why I never got a bullet journal. I'm kind of obsessed with them more so than a regular journal, just because I can create whatever I want to create, and I love it. But I was able to create my 12 weeks of Atomic Habits finance book. So it's a book where I do all my budgeting, um, and then I was keeping track of me paying off collections. So I probably had a little over 6,000, maybe like around it up to like $7,000 in collections, and I paid off all of them, and I only have one account left. And so I'm very thankful to the Lord for that. But it took some sacrifice. So people hear like, oh yeah, I paid off this debt and da da da. Child, I had to work. Man, I think I broke my necklace. I had to work a whole lot of overtime for one. For two, that meant, you know, not being around my family as much. So that did take time away from them. So that did, I had to work a whole lot of overtime. So that meant that um, I wasn't going to the gym as much. I was probably just doing 3 days a week. And it was nothing but work, gym, sleep, eat, work, gym, sleep, eat on repeat. Um, which I think for this next set of the 12 week of Atomic Habits, I am going to hit the pavement like that again. For this tail end, I didn't. I've given myself a lot of grace, a lot of rest. But I know that I'm gonna have to hit the ground running as soon as 4/1/25 rolls around. So that's one of the things, that and sacrifice. So um not doing the things that I want to do. And then for future, I was 75% successful, child. Yes. I did invest a lot, but not as consistent. And I have been making outlines, but the batch work has not been done fully because I decided to fill that time to make extra income. So instead of being able to sit down for 3 hours uninterrupted and do as much work as I could do in 3 hours, I kind of haven't been able to do that. So I've been kind of getting in where I can fit in with that. And then fitness was 100% fail, as I did nothing consistently, which I spoke about earlier. So I do have a whole new set of um, 12-week year of Atomic Habits that I want to incorporate. And it's something that I will share once those 12 weeks are over, baby. But I did want to go ahead and give like my overall theme. We're humans. We can't operate like machines and do 100% of everything every single time. But what I did learn from this is that it's very fundamental things that are important. Honoring your word, consistency is key. That's it. We lie the most to ourselves every day. We disappoint our own selves the most every day, yet we get so offended when somebody else disappoints us. But we disappoint ourselves every day in the behaviors, the actions, the lack thereof execution that we do. And so now I'm thinking about, okay, what will create a better atmosphere for that? Like I said before, this is just a nice little tip or whatever about getting consistent sleep. Okay, so that I have to work on, like what I'm doing to go to sleep, right? That time, what could be effective for that. But also, okay, how effective is my waking? What is my morning routine looking like? Is there intentionality set into that? And there are certain things that I do now that are great that I do, but it's not enough. I need to start my day off optimal, and I need to end my day optimally. And so that's just some of the things that I'm focusing on for the next 12-week year of Atomic Habits. I hope this was helpful for you to kind of look at yourself and just do a quick self assessment. And it's very easy to look at yourself in 5 areas of your faith, your family, your fitness, your future, and your finances. I guarantee you, if you take a look at all those areas, you would see the overall health, not only of yourself mentally and physically, but spiritually. And then in turn, you will see how you're showing up or not showing up for the others around you. And it really helps you hone in to areas where you can make impactful change. I say that my faith is first because I can't do anything in my own strength. Only through Christ can I do all things because he's the one who strengthens me. And so if putting him first, it's a trickle down effect and all those other areas blossom, grow and bear fruit because of it. So if there's nothing you take away from today is you need to make faith a priority in your life. Because when I tell you there are so many areas, circumstances, and situations where I was shaken, but I didn't stumble. The Lord was there to hold me up. And that's what we need moving forward. It's not, oh, I need a self help guru or anything like that, which I'm not going to negate having a good coach or a good person with sound wisdom and advice. But they have to be a person with sound wisdom and advice, and they must be submitted to God in order to help you. Because if they're submitted to anything else, everything is going to pour out from that area. It's inevitable. If I'm full of chocolate milk and you say, hey, can you give me water? And I give you chocolate milk, that's all I can give you. I'm full of chocolate milk. So it's very important for you in this season to really be conscious of not only the conversations that you are having, but the conversations that you are not having. Just take a look around your life and see where can I do a little bit of improvement at. But I will have to say that the first place to look is in the mirror. It's not always fun, but it is eye opening and it is telling of where you're at. This has been another episode of the From Her View podcast with myself, Sade Camille. I hope you enjoyed it, and I can't wait to see you next time.